diagnosis of patients and families affected by these diseases. So let me start by talking about the type of information we can actually extract from the DNA sequence. Now, I'm not going to go through exactly what DNA is. I think all of us have been steeped in intuitive knowledge about what DNA is. We know that it's a physical molecule, but also that it carries some type of information. And of course, this molecule is shown as a chromatic representation here of a double helix. It's actually what it is. It's actually a double helix molecule. It's present in every cell in your body. And this double helix molecule contains these rungs or strands that correspond to individual letters of DNA. And those are one of only 4 different types of letters present in your DNA: A, C, G, or T. And that ACGC, repeated a mind-bogglingly large number of times in many different arrangements, is what provides the information that allows our cells to function. So this is an actual text of your DNA. I'm just going to let this flash past for a second here. So at peak speed, that little piece of DNA is going around about 50 letters per second. So put 40 little moments to understand just how staggeringly large the genome is. So despite the fact that it's condensed into every single cell in your body, we actually take through that peak speed of 50 letters per second. It will take about 2 years to run through one strand of your genome. If you want to read both pieces of your genome, that is the section you've heard from your mother, the section you've heard from your father, that's 4 years running that particular movie. So this is an enormous amount of information that is recorded again in every single cell in your body. That's 2 by 3 billion letters of DNA. Now, this is the recorded information that is stored, and a copy that's almost identical with a few changes with accumulated during the development of your body. It's almost identical in every cell in your body. So here is a finished version of a neuron. If you were to look at a skin cell or an immune cell from your body, you'll find basically the same copy of information. The notable exception, of course, being red blood cells that circulate through your blood and carry iron. Others don't have DNA because they're actually destroyed in nucleus and so they're one of the few cell types in the body that doesn't have a copy of this information molecule. So DNA is fundamentally an information-carrying agent, and we can think about that information in multiple different ways. I think that the way we often think about DNA is by fingerprint. I think most people in this room will know that DNA is fundamentally unique to every individual. In fact, it's safe to say that the DNA strand, the DNA sequence that's present in your cells is completely unique to you. That same sequence has never existed at any other time in any other human being in the history of the world. In fact, even if you're one of the very identical twins, like these two girls here, it is still the case that your DNA is unique because there are mutations that arise during the process of development, a handful of mutations in the case of identical twins that actually make it possible to tell the difference between these two individuals. So even if you're identical twins that leave the DNA, the crime scene is actually possible to tell theoretically at least from that relatively small number of changes to which of the twins committed that particular crime. I don't think that's likely for this sort of DNA is effectively a fingerprint, and it's a really big part of what makes us unique and diverse. What differentiates the many differences in race, and many differences in race represented here in the audience from one another. But of course, there are many other effects that come from the environment as I'll discuss later. So in addition to carrying information about your identity, you can also think of your DNA as a kind of history book. It carries a record of history not really just about you, but also about your ancestors. I mean, your ancestors both recent and also very ancient. So DNA, as far as we know, the DNA that is present in all living creatures grows only once. So to the best of our knowledge, all living things that exist on the face of the planet share a single common ancestor that was somewhere between 3.5 and 4 billion years ago. And that single common ancestor, through the process of evolution, has given rise to the incredible diversity of life that exists around us. So in this basically almost impossible to parse a very complicated tree of life, we can say it's just a subset of many different species that exist and populate this enormous tree of individuals. This enormous tree of species, all of them fundamentally related to each other. In case you're curious, humans actually formed by this one little tiny insignificant branch up here, which constitutes the whole of the remaining species. Most of the species that are found on the surface of the earth, of course, are tiny little unicellular organisms, incredibly important for everything that we do, but invisible for most of our lives. So that's the information that carries about our ancient history. It also carries information about our very recent history, the very recent history of our ancestors. This is a map, and this is a map that has been created entirely using people's DNA. Let me explain to you how this was done. So this is a map that was created by taking individuals who had very specific ancestry. These are people where all 4 of their grandparents were born in the same country. And then several thousand of these individuals were taken. They were genotyped, they were then fed genomes with an assay using a particular genotyping chip that provided information on several hundred thousand pieces of particular sites of DNA throughout their genome. And then those individuals were clustered purely based on their genetic relatedness. So how closely related they were to each other. And they're projected using a mathematical approach called PCA onto this particular map here. And some of you may already recognize this map, but for those of you who don't, the colour scheme is exactly the same. These are individuals who are coloured purely on the basis of genetic information, and this is the countries where they actually came from. You can see that there's a stunningly good correlation between this map built entirely based on the genetic information of these individuals and then a map that is actually the geographical map of Europe. So people from Spain, people who most of whose ancestors come from Spain, tend to be more closely related to other Spanish individuals than they are to people from France, for instance. And this type of relationship is something we can get, and although you can think of it as a great continuity between different populations, that means that each of us carries in fact a genetic postcode that provides information about the exact positions that our ancestors evolved in, and that will actually come up again later in my talk to talk about my own DNA. I think there's a popular perception of DNA that is encouraged by the media in many different ways when they talk about a gene for cancer, a gene for diabetes, or a gene for multiple sclerosis. The DNA constitutes a blueprint that pre-specifies everything that we will ever become in our lives. And so I think it's really one of the constructive analogies to use when thinking about DNA. In fact, what I would suggest is that we think of DNA as a recipe. So DNA specifies in effect an ingredients list and a set of instructions that tell our bodies how to put those ingredients together. So that recipe can be interpreted in very different ways in the environment that we find ourselves in. So in the same way that the same recipe can give us to very different outcomes, depending on how we're actually conducting that particular experiment, the same genetic recipe can also give us to very different outcomes. So here I think it's one of the best examples I've ever seen. This is a pair of identical twins who were born in Ohio. The twin on the left stayed in Ohio, she stayed out of the sun, she never smoked throughout her life. The twin on the right, for whatever reason, decided to move to Florida. She smoked for 40 years. And you can see, despite the fact that the genomes of these two women are basically identical, apart from the handful of cell units I mentioned earlier, you can see the effects of the environment in a very clear sense across these two individuals. So again, these recipes, the same recipes, are interpreted in very different ways in different environmental settings. And over the last 10 to 20 years, using a series of increasingly sophisticated technologies, it's become possible to start to pull apart this recipe, to really understand exactly which pieces of that enormous long stretch of DNA are actually telling our bodies different instructions that relate to different risk diseases or particular traits that are present in us and not necessarily in other people. So I'm not going to go through the full collection of genetic information that we now know about the collection of information we now know about our genome. Over the last 5 years in particular, we've been able to identify many regions of the genome that are associated with traits like obesity. We found regions of the genome that affect our response to drugs. So this is now possible to predict so many drugs that will respond to those drugs and will have adverse reactions to those drugs. DNA can predict actually with considerable certainty now the colour of a person's eyes, the colour of their hair, and the colour of their skin. That turns out to be relatively easily genetically coded, although it's not perfect in everyone. And also many other more complex traits. So some of you may be aware of this, but there is a subset of people in this room who are capable of knowing, by smelling someone's urine, whether or not they've been asparagus in the last few hours. So does anyone know what I'm talking about? Does anyone have any right? So me as well. So sometimes I'm looking at the people hands on my friends in this room, so there's a subset of people in this room who will absolutely unambiguously know what I'm talking about because they can smell asparagus on their own urine. So there's a subset of people in this room who are looking at it by complete comprehension because they never realised that possible. But I'll show you that it's the case. And that turns out that a lot of the difference between individuals in that particular trait turns out to lie in the region that encodes olfactory receptors that encode our sense of smell. So that is at least partly explain the difference between different individuals in the population in response to that particular trait. But despite the advances over the last 20 years, there's still many pieces of the genome that we really don't understand exactly what they're doing, and many diseases where we are far from fully understanding all of the different contributions to those diseases. And this is particularly true in the diseases that I care about the most. These are very rare severe diseases such as muscular dystrophy and congenital myopathy. Diseases that often take effect very early in life, that have very severe effects on survival and on people's fitness, and I'll show some examples of them later. And where, although for many cases we can identify exactly which genetic change has caused us to cause disease, there are many other cases in the general population for whom we cannot find a cause. And so that will be the focus really of the second of my talk. Before I get to that, I want to take a little detour and I can illustrate some of the different information we get from our genome using a couple of nuggets of information that I'm making from my own genome. And it's primarily through, I've actually had a number of genetic tests performed on myself over the course of the last actually 7 years now. And most of the results we're going to show today are from a relatively cheap test, a $100 test that I purchased from the company 23andMe. So 23andMe, for those of you who know, one of multiple companies that allows you to actually order a genetic test without the input from a doctor. And that then provides a schedule to a tube, it takes 15 minutes, you have to fill out 2 mils of saliva in a tube. That's actually a shockingly large amount of saliva to produce, for those of you who know. Once you come up with saliva, 46 weeks later, you get a set of results, you can look up online, it gives you all sorts of information about yourself. Some of you may know 23andMe because it was controversy a couple of years ago now, where parts of the company were shut down by the FDA because they were offering health advice without providing enough assistance. And they're now slowly getting FDA approval to start that part of the company back up again. I'm not going to talk really about disease risk at all in this presentation, I just want to focus mostly on related to history. So these three maps are my genome actually, and that's provided by 23andMe, and each of them shows, here we have each of these lines here, different chromosomes. One of my 23 pairs of chromosomes, and the next chromosome, a Y chromosome, or it's very Y. And what these maps show is how closely related I am to another individual, and we also happen to be present in 23andMe's database. In light blue are the sections of my genome where I'm 50% related to that individual, that is one copy of my DNA is shared with that other person, but the other copy is not. In dark blue are the cases of the places where I'm 100% related to that other individual, and in white over here are the places where I'm completely unrelated to that individual. That is, despite the fact that all humans are fundamentally related, that means that 23andMe's algorithms were unable to detect any recent relatedness between me and this other person. So these are three people that I know actually extremely well. The first person is my father. I was very relieved to find out that I am in fact 50% related to my father in every position in my genome. I was really both to me and I think my father, possibly my mother as well. The second person is my brother, and as my brothers are, siblings are, it turns out that I'm not related in some parts of my genome. I'm 50% related in others and 100% related in others. This has to do with the random shuffling of our DNA during the formation of the sperm and egg. It turns out I'm actually slightly more than 50% related to my brother. So it turns out I'm slightly more related to my brother than either of us are to our parents, but I think we're close together as a family. And the third person was the famous that I'm not related at all, because that's my wife. It's the same audience. So again, this famous enormous related to my family. We're not in fact undiscovered distant cousins, so that was amazingly related. So we can find other information about our genomes. Here's a map, it's very similar to the map that I showed earlier, but I'm not quite pretty honest with it. There's a physical component analysis of individuals in the 23andMe database. Here showing people with no genetic ancestry. This is not just a map of Europe, this is actually a map of the world. So there are sections out here that correspond to East Asia and the Pacific, the section down here corresponds to Africa, and the section up here corresponds to people with European ancestry. This little green block here is me. It turns out, and I think this is no surprise to those of you who've been listening to me, that I am generally of European ancestry. In fact, almost exclusively, it turns out, most of my genome comes from the UK. But I'm surprised to find out that despite the fact that there is a very large fraction of my genome that is clearly a British ancestry, exactly as expected from my whole family history, there were 6 stretches of DNA shown here that were actually very confidently signed as being South Asian ancestry. So that's a real puzzle. There's actually no recorded family history that we were aware of that any evidence at all of South Asian ancestry in my family. My brother could also be interested, also turned out to have a slightly different set of South Asian ancestry, we shared one block with others. And my father had even more, so it turns out we could tell from this history very clearly that we inherited these blocks of South Asian ancestry from my father, so it must have been a South Asian ancestor on my father's side. So I'm not going to go through a detailed forensic analysis that have been proceeded as we've done through our family tree, but a lot of times for genealogical records to try to figure out where it come from. It turns out we were able to demonstrate with some certainty that actually comes from this man here, my great-great-great-grandfather, Captain Abel Henry Chapman, who was born in England, but has spent 15 years in the British Army in India. We know much about his time that we know that he met a woman called Molly Fraser. Molly Fraser was born in Calcutta. We know even less about her, except that her mother was English. We know absolutely nothing at all about her mother. And Abel and Molly got married, and they moved back to England together. They started the Chapman family that eventually led to my father's lineage. And we are almost certain, based on the tracing of his lineage, that Molly Fraser was in fact 50% Indian, but her mother was in fact Indian. This is something my family had absolutely no idea about. My grandmother, we're going to have to shock to do this, by the way, and actually passed away about 5 years before we learned this. But the rest of the family was extremely excited to learn that we actually had these little chunks of our genome, that give us information not just potentially about health risk, but also tell us about a love story that occurred more than 150 years ago on a different continent. It's quite cool. So that's all I'm going to say about my genome. I want to spend the rest of the presentation focusing on the ways in which the same types of information that we can get in the context of this test and the different types of information that carry in all of our genomes can be used to learn more about the genetic basis of the rare diseases. The diseases that my lab study, I've been to study over the last 4 years, are diseases that affect muscles. These are 2 girls from a family, especially one of the first families we ever studied in my lab. Both of these girls, and these are actually the only 2 children in this family, were affected by a disease called Mennelin myopathy. Mennelin myopathy is present from birth. You can see this young girl here, but she was born actually quite weak. It affects all the muscles in the body to a greater or lesser extent. You can see in both of these girls here, the most obvious and visible manifestation of the disease is an extreme weakness in the facial muscles. In particular, their jaw muscles are so weak that they can't close their mouths, so their jaws basically hang open. So this disease is obviously very debilitating. Despite this, the older girl has learned how to walk, first of all. She's also learned how to talk, because she learned how to use her hands, so they don't have to actually communicate. So she's dealt extremely well with the challenges that the family faces. In addition to the medical challenges that they face, the family, at the time, the oldest girl was 9 years old, for those 9 years, the family had another challenge to deal with, and that was the extreme uncertainty surrounding the exact cause of the disease present in both of the girls. So at the time that the DNA from this family was first sent to us, they had gone through 9 years what we call a diagnostic odyssey, which is actually pretty characteristic, like the time for a rare disease patient to spend searching for a genetic cause for a particular disease. I went through the details here, but both girls had a muscle biopsy taken as a standard diagnostic procedure, a painful procedure, and that's used to actually stain for a whole series of different proteins within the muscle to help figure out what gene might be disrupted. A whole series of genes that were known to be involved in Mennelin myopathy had been scanned, no results were found, and 9 years later the family was no closer than they ever were to learning exactly what the cause of this disease was. And that's not a rare story, that is not a history for about half of all rare muscle disease patients. They can't be given different types of genes that actually causes their health disease. So using at least established standard diagnostic techniques. So we received the DNA in the lab here at the Broad. We were able to send that DNA off for critical exome sequencing, and we're going to cover a bit through the rest of my talk. Exome sequencing is a method that allows us to perform sequencing to extract the sequence of DNA just for the 2% of the genome that codes for proteins. So this is the part of the genome that we understand best, and it's also the part of the genome that is extremely rich for the genetic changes that cause severe diseases like congenital myopathy. And when we sequenced the DNA of these 2 girls and both of their parents, what we found was that both girls carried 3 different changes within a gene called L1-3 or biotin-3. There's this insignificant little change here, a change to an A, and it's 3 bases that are deleted down here. Now it turns out this change up here creates a stop codon in this gene, and that's basically a signal that tells that gene to stop producing protein. So it's a completely non-functional copy of this gene. This copy down here actually results in a protein that is missing one part of the protein, one small amino acid section of that protein. And these 2 changes in combination, these 2 tiny changes among the 3 billion letters of DNA that I showed you earlier, were responsible for causing this catastrophic disease in this family. rare diseases. These are what we call monogenic diseases. That means that a handful of changes, one, maybe two changes within a particular gene, are sufficient to cause these very severe diseases that the family affects their ability to survive as a prime. Now, a diagnosis in these girls is not the family change their outcome, but it does have a number of impacts on their day-to-day life. This is for rare disease patients in their life. It is true for a small handful of patients, a small but growing handful of patients, that we can actually use a diagnosis to lead to a change in therapy. So we've been now sequencing in our lab more than 1,000 families affected by rare disease. For more than 400 of those families, we've been able to give them that diagnosis. And for several dozen of those families, it's been possible then to convert what previously been effectively untreatable disease into a disease where it is actually possible to give medications where we get some of those symptoms. Now that, of course, that small fraction will grow as we begin to develop more and better drugs to treat these rare diseases. The second advantage is those patients learn more about their prognosis, so they can predict better exactly what the effects of their disease will be over time. So many of the families, this allows us to reproductive families. They can come up with ways of ensuring that future children that are born in that family do not suffer from the same diseases, and that means that often they can actually go on and have children with no pain not before. And then finally, I actually think this point is very critical. It becomes possible to actually put a name to a disease. As the families like the one I showed earlier, you don't have to 9 years of hunting for the cause for a child's disease. It becomes an enormous relief to actually have a specific cause, a specific gene, a specific name you can give to that disease, and also to be able to find other patients who have the same diseases. So in the case of patients who are diagnosed with almost screening mutations, over the course of the next 4 to 6 months, we're able to find 12 other families around the world that have mutations in the same gene that lead to hereditary neuropathy. That means it becomes possible to form networks of people who understand your disease, and also we can start to lobby for both pharma companies and governments for potentially more effective therapies for this disease. So what can we do to improve the diagnosis of patients with rare diseases? One of the things that we have found extremely useful in our lab, and this is from very early stage sequencing in our lab, is that what we need to be able to do is to take all of the genetic things that we find in our patients and compare them to extremely large databases of normal variation throughout the population. And this is important to do. We need to be able to answer 3 very simple questions about that genetic variation. We need to know which changes occur in our patient, has it ever been seen before in any one sequence? If so, how common is it in the general population and across different populations? And is that frequency within the population consistent with a rare disease causing mutation? And it turns out that the frequency within the population is one of the best clues we have as whether a variant could actually be a cause of a specific rare disease. The final question, of course, is that if there are other individuals out in this population who carry that particular variant, we also want to know if they also have the disease, or have a certain combination of variants that they also have that disease. And again, that's a really important clue is to finding out if that particular variation could be responsible for that particular patient's disease. Now, we live in an absolutely remarkable time to be doing this type of human genetics. And one of the reasons for that is that there is the sheer scale of the data that's now being generated around the world on the DNA of now more than 1 million people who have either the exomes or genome sequence. So this is a tremendous amount of information that potentially provides huge amounts of data on the distribution of genetic variation across the general population. The challenge, of course, is that most of that information is inaccessible for several reasons. Some of that information is generated by companies and academic groups. Some of the companies regard that information as being proprietary knowledge. You'd be shocked to learn that some academics also are not keen on sharing particular pieces of data. There are also mundane people that put in data sharing because it's very difficult to move large amounts of data from one place to another. And another final problem is the fact that different projects tend to generate the data in different ways. And so because each project tends to use their own analysis pipeline, it becomes very difficult to take the end results of all those pipelines and merge them all together without being completely hopelessly confounded by technical differences between the different pipelines. So I remember 3 years ago we said I tried to solve that. So an exercise that came to be known as the exome aggregation consortium. To explain what that is, I'm going to explain what each of the words in the following. We've already talked about exome sequencing, so that is the technology that is now used at a very large scale to provide a cost-effective way of understanding the sequence of just the protein variations within the genome. This is being applied now to hundreds of thousands of people around the world. Exome aggregation refers to the fact that in this particular consortium, our goal was to take raw data from many different projects and merge them all together into a single unified project. It's very inspiring, thank you. And finally, the word consortium refers to the fact that no one research group actually did this alone. It was absolutely essential that we could work with groups around the world which generated this exome sequencing data from tens of thousands of people and pull all that data together into a single unified resource. So I'm not going to go through the details of the process of which we want to do, I will instead go through the headline numbers here. So we were able, by the middle of October 2014, thanks to the help of a number of consortia I mentioned at the end of this talk, to pull together the raw sequencing data from over 90,000 people. This is a staggering amount of data, as I'll show in a second. These were made by 21 different research studies, most of which were focused on understanding the genetics of common complex diseases such as type 2 diabetes and schizophrenia. These were all processed through exactly the same pipeline, and this provided an enormous amount of computing capacity, but also we were totally dependent on the raw computing power that's present here at the Broad Institute. This would have been extremely difficult to do almost anywhere else in the world. We were able, at the end of that process, that enormous and painful process, to call genetic variants, that is sequence changes, across all 92,000 samples. And because this process known as drug calling, simultaneous analysis across all of these samples, we could be sure that the same genetic change had been called in exactly the same way across all of those individuals, so we could very accurately estimate the frequency for every variant we discovered. At the end of that process, we then filtered it down to 60,000 samples. We removed about a third of the samples for good reason. We removed them either because they had low quality data, or because they were related to one another, or because they or the person who else suffered from a very severe rare disease. We wanted this to be as representative of the general population as possible, so this is designed to be a controlled data set. The final data set composes over 10 million genetic variants. These variants are almost all new. They'd actually never been reported before. We were the first group to discover them in aggregate in this particular project. And this is really the first time that we were able to peer down at variants still present at a frequency of less than 1 in 10,000, even less than 1 in 100,000 within the population. And at the end of the process, we were then able to release that frequency data to the world in a website that I'll tell you a couple of slides time. So this emphasizes the sheer amount of data that we have to process here. This is about a petabyte of raw data. That's 1,000 terabytes. So that would be equivalent to taking a cutting-edge MacBook Air and then actually setting up 4,000 of those laptops and copying 1/4,000 of the data on each of those laptops. So an exercise actually really strongly don't recommend. We were fortunate enough to be able to have access to the Broad computational cluster, which is more capable of actually storing the petabyte of data. We source 10 times that amount of data. So this is what the data looks like from 4 variants across 60,000 people. This is a principal component analysis plot that we've talked about TCA a couple of times during the talk. The only difference here is that this is 3D advanced engineering, and so it's completely overlapping audience. What this shows us is the pattern of the relationship between the samples that we sequence in the exact data set. In blue, we have individuals with European ancestry, and actually more than 50% of the samples have had European. That's a bias in the ascertainment of the studies that we're putting into the sample. So that's in this data set. We can also say we have thousands of individuals in this data set from Latino samples, South Asian, East Asian, as well as African samples. So this is by no means a comprehensive set of human genetic diversity. You can see, for instance, East Asia is sitting all over the place down here, and then typically missing huge swaths of genetic diversity for Central Asia and the Middle East that would normally be connecting East Asia right the way throughout to Europe. So it's not a perfect representation of human genetic diversity, but it does mean, for many of these populations for the first time, we have very deep ascertainment of the frequency data that we can use to study rare disease patients for each of these different populations. And the data regardless of the world on a website, xxoperinstitute.org. If you have a favorite gene, you can look up your favorite gene on this website. It will give you information about how much data we have for each of the pieces of that gene, and also be able to list every single variant that's been discovered there. You can click on those variants to learn more about its frequency in the general population across multiple different populations. So if you take a look at how it's going to be useful, let's go back to our family A, and the two mutations that we discovered in the L1 region. Now, it turns out most of these variants are extremely rare. This plot up here, we're seeing